evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight. We're delighted to welcome Thomas Skinner, who was most famously a contestant on The Apprentice. He got very close to the final five, despite often being on the losing team, and using some charm and venom to get out of being fired. Fans then warmed to his social media presence and particularly his catchphrase "Bosh." Please welcome Tom Skinner. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us. Oh, I don't get nervous.
So I thought we'd sort of start just on sort of talking about your early life. You've spoken quite openly about having dyslexia, and I sort of wondered, how did that affect you at school? What was school like to you? And sort of were you always looking for a sale from a pretty young age?
Yeah, so I'm dyslexic, struggle with my reading and writing, always have done, yeah. And I've had a lovely upbringing, you know, and it sort of, I did, I suppose, struggle at school a little bit. I mean, I got expelled from school.
Yeah?
Would you like to hear about that? It was me trying to sell, to be fair.
Okay, yeah.
So we grew up in, I grew up in a town called Romford, and everyone was always making money. Like, and my little group of mates was always a bit older than me, and I just always wanted to earn a few quid. My dad was always trading, you know, and I remember at the time I had a couple of paper rounds. I set up market stalls in Romford Market. I worked on Saturdays in a barber shop, sweeping up there. Loved making money, and I remember my friend Warren always had at least a tenner to go to school with. And I went to my dad, Dad, how comes you never give me no money to go to school with? And he went, so I'm teaching you how to earn a few quid. He goes, you're out there grafting, you're getting your bit of ready, you save it up, and that's how the world goes round. I went, come on, Dad, don't be tight, give us at least a £5 a day to go to school with. And he said, no, he said, you ain't getting nothing, but I'll find something for you. And anyway, a few weeks went past, and I remember coming home from football training or rugby, or wherever I was at, and my dad and my uncle Alan were in the front room, and they was the wrong side of a few beers and bottles of wine. And there was a suitcase in my front room, and this was one of my little buying and selling expertise, I suppose. And he said, in that suitcase, Tom, is what you're going to do. And I went, all right, Dad, what is it? He went, open it up, and I unzipped it, and it was full of pirate porno DVDs. So he went, you're 14, mate, all your mates are watching it, you give me £1 each for each one, and what you do is you go 3 quid, 2 for a £5, crack on. All right, Dad, I will. So I went to school, put it in me locker, had a drawstring JD sports bag, and I knocked loads out. And I took like 200 or 300 quid in the first day. And after about 2 or 3 days, me JD string straw bag had got a bit tatty, few holes in it. I was in a lunch hall, and I remember leaning over going, Miss, I'll have you'll have the sausage, you'll have the mash. And as I leant over, the bag just split. I thought, and there was a selection of porno DVDs across the dinner hall floor, and I got sent straight to the headmaster's office, and that was my last day of school.
Did your dad support you? Did he defend you to the headmaster?
Yeah, he did actually. So I remember sitting there, and at the time, my mum and dad were like just starting to sort of split up, and I was thinking, ring me mum, because me mum is you meet my mum, she would like, you come, she goes, you want a sandwich? Want a cup of tea? Can't do everything. My dad's quite an angry man. He's like, shut up, like that. And I thought, ring me mum, please ring me mum. Like, it's better for you to ring me mum. And he rang me dad, and my dad turned up half hour later, and when he come down there, he was going, look, mate, I'm just trying to teach him how to buy and sell. Like, that's all I'm trying to teach him how to earn. He went, yeah, but these are illegal. And it was, I'd been on a few warnings before, and that was it. I got expelled. I was allowed to go back the following year and do my GCSEs. But yeah, that was me. I went to work from a young age and started grafting and loved earning money.
Yeah, and so what did you do immediately after? How did you work for some of the people you knew, or?
I worked for my dad for a bit. My dad used to sell, actually what he used to do was put DVDs in sweet shops and then go around each week and collect the money from the ones that are sold. And he had like a little chain, and for the first couple of weeks I was in a warehouse in Rainham on the A13 with white spirits, wiping off for sale stickers of DVDs and then putting them in piles and putting on new stickers. And I thought, I can't be doing this. And I started I was buying and selling. I started working on the market selling handbags, believe it or not, and that was sort of my first real trade, buying and selling with public.
And did you, what were the main sort of tips that you sort of picked up? Because I think anyone who meets you or saw The Apprentice will instantly get that you're an incredibly charming sort of salesman. Do you think you were born with that, or did you kind of develop that sort of knowing what to say, knowing, we were talking a bit just before about how, you don't want a pushy salesman who kind of comes up as like, oh, can I help you, buy something? So did you have to learn that by trial and error? Or?
Yeah, I mean, what I found was people buy from people they like, like people don't mind spending 50p on a market store or £1 more 90% of the time. If they're buying from someone that makes them smile, you're not gaining a customer, you're gaining a friend. Because you gain a friend and someone will buy from you again. And I was always the cheeky chappy, had a good deal, had what you wanted. I wasn't always the cheapest, but you get a good service, you come and see me. People, you get a little round.
Yeah. And so from working sort of 15, 16, selling in the markets, to being on The Apprentice a few years ago, how did you set up your first business and sort of put yourself in a position to be on The Apprentice? What sort of happened between those 2 points?
Well, I have been up and down in my life, before The Apprentice, like a yo-yo. Like, there wasn't anything I didn't sell. I had to go at absolutely everything. I've always done beds and mattresses, but 1 week I wanted to have my own clothing range, then I wanted to do this, then I wanted to do that, and I never really... Problem with me was I love spending money. And I learnt that because I used to go out with all the boys getting a few quid, and they used to have all these sales people, and they used to go, what we do is you take what the nice bars like the West End, Tom, and you show them how to spend money, and it makes them want to earn more. And I got in that lifestyle of, well, I like a bottle of pink champagne on a Sunday, so I'm going to try and earn some more money to do it next weekend. And for a few years, I was up and down. I'd get something going, start cracking. I nearly get there, then something would happen, I'd lose it all, start again. I was driving about in £500 vans, and then next thing you know, I'd buy myself a nice 10 grand van, then I'd do something wrong and go down, start again. It was literally like, I was 1 week of doing well, 1 week I weren't. I was always doing all right, but I never really got in front. And when I started really to do well was, I suppose when I met my wife, my fiancée Sinead, and she from North London, Finsbury Park, and she was I call her Triple S, super sensible Sinead. Because when I first met her, I was in London, and I remember I'd just been trying to set up this trading floor, and it weren't really working. And I literally had £1,000 to my name. I didn't have a penny. I didn't have no more money. I had £1,000. And I met her in this bar, and I spent the whole £1,000 on a night out. And I remember thinking, at the end of the night, got in this black cab. I knew I had 30 quid, enough from the West End to get to Finsbury Park. Got to Finsbury Park. She wouldn't let me get in her house. I thought, what am I going to do now? So I had to tell the cabbie I had some money, and it's sort of being with her, I sort of wanted to do nice things with her, and I started knuckling down, and then I started doing the pillows. And that really started with, when we sort of started living together, she bought this pillow, and it was 98 quid. It was called a Tempur Cloud pillow. And I went, what have you spent nearly 100 quid on a pillow for, you nutter? And I was doing pillows at the time. I was doing them two for a fiver at the market anyway. And I remember going to a manufacturer, Jamal, I knew, up in Yorkshire, and I drove up and see him, and I went, mate, cut this pillow open. How's this 100 quid? And we cut it open, we copied it, like for like, and it cost about 9-10 quid to make. And then I started going around to all furniture shops. As a little round, I had about 30-40 shops, and they'd take 20-30 pillows a week that they'd sell. And then with the numbers, you're doing sort of 500-600 pillows a week. And when you're nicking sort of fivers and tenors on it, it's good money. And then I thought, hang on a minute, I've got a business here with me market stalls, with me rounds, but I never had enough money to really invest in 20-30,000 pillars. I was always borrowing money. Can I borrow 15 grand? Going, yeah, you can, Tom, but you've got to give me 16 back. And I didn't have the capital to push on. And my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, my fiancée at the time, she was like, I love The Apprentice, you would be different class on it. But why the fuck are they going to have a geezer that sells shit out the back of a van, let's be honest, who hasn't really got a university upbringing, hasn't really done anything with their life. He cracked on and grafted hard and done all right, but hasn't got anything now. I've sold things out of a van. Why are they going to pick me? She went, I'll fill the form out. And she filled the form out, bless her. And look, as you see me earlier writing in your book, it takes me a little while to write something. And she wrote, well, everything on there was practically a lie, probably. And sent the form off, and the form come back and said, fantastic, come in for an interview. And there we go, I was on The Apprentice.
Wow. And so was that one of the incentives? You talk about how you didn't have the kind of capital to sort of launch something slightly longer term. Was trying to win the £250,000, or was it also just more for the experience of being on it and the sort of the learning opportunity, as well as, I suppose, some of the media attention? Or did you not really think about that?
Yeah, I mean, of course I wanted the £250,000.
Yeah.
But as well in my head I thought, wow, hang on, I've got a product and I've watched 4 or 5 million people watch this show. Like, I can't lose from doing it. There is nothing to lose from doing it, you know. And to be honest, I did thought from the second I went in there, I thought I'm going to win this absolutely easy lemon squeezy. I did. I've walked on there, looked around the room, and I thought, fucking, this would be a piece of piss. Like I did. And how was I wrong?
Well, I think that's actually quite a point I was going to ask about. I think I'm a big Apprentice fan. That's when I first saw you. I've been watching since I was about 9, and particularly the later seasons. I think a lot of us sort of look at it and feel almost like it's sort of set up for failure. That, you know, did you get the feeling that the odds were stacked against you a little bit by the producers?
I mean, what you've got to remember is, it is a TV show. So they do, you know, they do put the spanner in the works. They do. Like, I mean, there's a couple of things that I was winning by a million miles. They went, the camera weren't filming that bit, Tom, so we've got to do it again. And you think, what? And they do set you up. I mean, you've got to remember, it is very real. Like, you do get 20 minutes to get up in the morning, and it is difficult. And one task takes 3 days, but they do slightly stack the odds against you, because obviously if everyone just smashed it and made it nice and easy, they ain't got a TV. Who's going to watch it? You know what I mean? Everyone has to go, look at them prats on the telly. I'll do it 10 times better. But when you're in there, you've got no phone, you've got no computer, you can't look at a newspaper. You're just there, and you've got to do what they tell you to do. And sometimes what they tell you to do ain't exactly what it comes across on the screen as well.
And on a kind of the sort of personal side, how is it being in that environment with a bunch of people you didn't know, you know, not being able to talk to your friends, your wife, your family? How was that? Was that difficult?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. When I went into it, when they said, we're going to take your phone off you now, I thought you'd get it back in the evening. They generally take your phone off you. You live in a house with 16 or 18 other people that you'd never met before, that you probably wouldn't meet in your circles as well. And it's like being in prison. They tell you when to go to bed, they tell you when to wake up, yeah? They tell you when to eat, and they tell you what you got to do all day. But I loved it, and I really, really enjoyed it, because I made, obviously, new friends from it, but there's hundreds of people on that TV show that you don't see, the camera crews, the producers, the people organising it. And I made so many friends. Obviously, Lord Sugar, Karen Blady, Claude Littner, they're legends, you know? And to meet them, talk to them, rub shoulders with them, it was an experience, probably the best thing, one of the best experiences I've had in my life.
And so, well, I believe being a keen viewer, this actually isn't your first time to Oxford, because I think one of the tasks you were deployed.
Well, they sent me to Cambridge.
Oh, were you in the Cambridge one? Oh, all right. So that's my fault then. But I remember one of the moments from that, you were trying to buy a punt pole.
Yeah.
And you flipped a coin for a deal.
That's it.
And I remember some of your fellow contestants were sort of a bit irritated by this sort of style of negotiation.
Yeah, I remember that. So we had to buy a punting pole, which is what they push the boats down on the river, and. We've gone to this, the geezer wanted like 200 quid for it. Oh, mate, it's a bit of metal, like, it's a scaffold pole, let's be honest, yeah? I said, he went, I'll take 80. I said, give you 50 quid for it. Oh, sorry, I'll give you 40 quid for it. He went, no, I want 60. And he went, I'll give you 40 quid for it. And then I went, well, I can't lose. I'll tell you what, if you win, I'll give you 50 quid. And if I win, I'll give you 40 quid. Flip a coin, heads or tails. He went, oh, that's a good deal. Touch. Flipped it and I lost. I still got it for 50 quid. And I remember the girl going, Lottie, her name was. Gosh, she done me brain in. She went, you don't gamble in business, Thomas. I went, business is one big gamble. What are you talking about? And she went, I wouldn't have done it. And I remember going in the boardroom. And we won the task as well, to be fair. The only task that I did win. It was the only task that I did win. And we're sitting with Lord Sugar. And she went, Thomas flipped a coin, you know, you don't, and Lord Sugar went, what are you talking about, love? And he went like, that's the best thing he's done. And yeah, so that's, you know, gambling is life, it is business, and it sometimes does you favours as well.
And what was the impact leaving The Apprentice? Obviously, lots of people came sort of enamoured with you. When did you first realise, because obviously it gets filmed much in advance, when did you first realise when you're watching the show that actually you were just more than the regular sort of apprentice contestant to most people's minds?
So what you don't know is you're in that house for 7 weeks, no phone, no contact with the outside world. And my mates, being my mates, made up a joke that I was in prison. And everyone believed it, right? So when I come back from being away from 7 weeks, everyone's going, how was it in there? And that was my mate Big Lanks. I went, well, why did you spread that rumour? I told you I was on the... He went, no one's going to believe in The Apprentice, yeah? And I kept telling people that I filmed The Apprentice. And everyone was going, Tom, shut up. You've not been on The Apprentice. You're talking nonsense here, mate. And then obviously the months went past, and I remember it come out on BBC, on Daily Mail, on all the newspapers that I was in The Apprentice. And my phone went mad by all my mates going, you actually, I told you, why would I lie to you? Like, I was generally away filming The Apprentice. And then obviously you get, like, social media's a mad place. Like, literally, like, people, I love social media, but obviously you've got the dark side, people give it to you and spread rumours about you and give you abuse all the time. And I remember, like, the first episode, I got slaughtered. Absolutely slaughtered. Who's this white boy? Who does he think he is? Like, and they hadn't really got to see me character, and I thought, oh, fucking hell, I've done a wrong in here. Like, and I remember BBC, they go to, look, people are going to either love you or hate you, like, ignore the press, and then obviously stories come out about my past, and I thought, oh, what have I done? Like, this is going to ruin me. And I was really, really genuinely worried. For once in my life, I thought, I've made a mistake. And the next week come, I had to sell the ice lollies, and I literally sold them all. And Claude was like, "He's got a talent," and it was a really good episode for me. And then all of a sudden, I was a legend. And then that was the episode where they kept having me say Bosch, and I've been saying Bosch since I was a little boy in the market, and it just become famous. And then I don't know, it sort of spiraled on from there. And I remember two things I remember really, really madly was after about 3 or 4 weeks. I went to a shopping centre called Lakeside Shopping Centre, which is in Thurrock in Essex, to go and get a new pair of trainers. And I parked literally right outside, and I was on my own. And as I walked to the door, it was a Saturday or a busy day. I literally walked to the door. As I opened the door, I got swarmed by hundreds of people. And I thought, what's going on here? This is madness. Like, selfies, and I was like, people give me their babies. I thought, what is going on? I couldn't believe it. Oh, me baby, honestly, I was so shocked at what was going on. And I remember that we had a website at the time selling pillows online, and the more on the show I went, the more pillows I sold online. It was just an unreal experience. Honestly, like the Daily Mail would ring you up and say, oh, and I'd make up stories. I used to go, oh yeah, they go, anything happening in the house, Tom? And I remember going, Ryan, Mark and Lewis shared a bath together. And it made the papers. Like anything, it was just crazy. It was a mad time. It was a mad... They obviously didn't share a bath together.
And so you talked about your pillow business.
Yeah.
Started to get a bit better. Where did you continue with that for a bit?
Yeah. That actually went insane. So on the day that I got fired, and Lord Sugar give it, if I was at war and I was a general and I was in the trenches, I want you by my side, and I was sitting, I nearly started tearing up, to be fair. I thought, that's nice for you to say, because normally it just goes, you're fired. And then it was that evening when it went insane for me. Like, I mean, we took thousands and thousands of orders over them, and it was coming up to Christmas, and we literally had all my mates. We couldn't bag them up fast enough. We couldn't make them quick enough up in Salford, where I was working as manufacturer, to do them. And it was a mad process. Like, we was DPD and Hermes at the time, trucks coming in, filling them up with pillars. Honestly, and I've never seen money like it really before. It was insane. And it was blinding business, and it done really well. And then unfortunately, the man that I was working with died during COVID, and then that was the end of that business.
So what did you do? How did you recover? Is this when Bosch bed started?
Yeah, so then it was a funny time during COVID because we'd just moved to Brentwood in Essex and Sinead was pregnant and I thought, oh, and I'd just filmed Celebrity MasterChef as well. And then COVID happened and I thought, I had all these TV jobs lined up and I was going to be a big TV star and I thought, oh, I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't tell you where my life was taking me. And it was the first time in my life where I was actually a little bit unsure what was going to happen because I'd just moved to this lovely house. I just bought a big car, my first big car. I had to find £1,000 a month to pay for that on finance. And because it was going so well and then all of a sudden it stopped dead, I thought, and I got a baby on the way, I thought, what am I going to do? Because all this TV work that I was lined up to do has now been put on hold because of COVID. And the man that I was working with passed away, sadly. And I don't know, and everything's shut, you know, I ain't got no savings, you know, I had a few grand put away, I didn't know what I was going to do. And I remember with the money that I had, I remember ringing up Lanks, I said, what should I do, mate? He said, we've got to go, we can't do no markets because everyone's scared to leave their house. And I remember going, what about that fella who used to buy the mattresses off? I wonder if he's still open. And I rang him up and he went, mate, I've got a contract to build a nursing home, but I can still make mattresses. And I went, can I come and buy some of it? And it was literally a mad one. And I drove to Bristol with Lanks and I bought the biggest van I had. And it was the last bit of my money. And I bought this brand new big Volkswagen Crafter van. I had about £1,000 left over and I bought a private plate saying Y2 Bosch as well. And I stuck that on it. And drove down to the mattress guy. And he said, you fell out of love with me. You've been doing pillars, Tom. What's happened? Because I used to buy loads of beds off him. I said, mate, I know I've been cracking right on and that happened. He went, bloody hell. He said, well, look, I can still do it and I can still do the mattresses. And he said, do you want to start doing them again? I said, yeah. So I literally went on Twitter and I'd done a video and I just remember standing up in his warehouse, all his mattresses behind me. And I went, right, I said, I know it's COVID and the shops are shut. I said, but who needs a new mattress? Because I'm still working, I'm still delivering. And I took a chance. And I said, people need beds to sleep on. If you need a mattress, we will deliver to your house, we'll disinfect it all, we'll put a mask on, whatever you want, we'll go to the front door and we'll deliver. We'll work 7 days a week. And I put this tweet up and I put it on Instagram and we got such a big response. I thought, wow, we've got a business here. And me and Lanks, and Big Lanks is called Big Lanks because he's about 6'8", covered in tattoos, the scariest looking man in the world, right? But he's a lovely man. Me and him, through the whole first lockdown, worked 7 days a week, did not stop. Because there was no cars on the road, we was getting sort of 20, 30 deliveries done a day, going all over the country, dropping off mattresses. And it was brilliant. And I thought, wow, we've seriously got business here. And we started really cracking on and getting in front, you know. And people were going like, it's great, and we had no competition, we was lucky. And that was when I really started to earn my money. And then when it comes to the end of lockdown, I thought, I've got a business here. And then I started doing beds and I bought an office, I employed a sales team, I bought a warehouse, I bought a manufacturing machine. I started putting my money to investing it into bits. And I sort of didn't realise that I was on a wave from lockdown. You know, I was earning phenomenal money. And that wave after lockdown, because I had all these overheads now, it became a lot harder. You couldn't do 30 deliveries a day in one van. You know, you had to have 4 vans to do that because there was traffic again. And then obviously everything got more expensive and it started getting a bit harder. But, you know, we made it happen. And it got to a point where we was taking like 130, 140 grand a week in bed sales, which is phenomenal. But it was so hard to manage. And from what I loved doing in the van and working hard, and I loved doing it with my mate, and we was doing it, it become, after, you know, a year, getting shops and outlets and sales staff. If you've ever met sales staff, they're the worst people in the world. I had loads of them, yeah? They was all rowing every day and they was all nicking each other's sales, and I actually fell out of love with it. And then I had to find £33,000 a week to pay me exes. It was disgusting, like it was hard. And then I thought, I'm working 7 days a week, I'm making myself feel, I'm struggling with this, like, and one day I thought, you know what, as big as we was and as good as we were and as profitable as it was, I went, this ain't me. I ain't a corporate person, I never have been, and I niched it. I shut all the shops, I let all the staff go, I sold the I got rid of everything, and boom, started again, and then sold off the website, and that was it. And I went back to working the market stalls again because it's what I know, it's what I enjoy, and I was happy, and I was a bit in front as well. You know, the pressure was off a little bit.
Do you think in many ways, actually, then it was somewhat of a blessing in disguise that you didn't win The Apprentice, but you would have been put into a more kind of corporate thing, working alongside Lord Sugar, that actually what really kind of motivates you? And I was going to ask also, how do you stay so motivated? You're up at sort of 3, 4 a.m. doing it. Does it have to be a sort of passion project for you to get behind it?
I think what I've learned is money isn't my God. I think like I could have easily built up business and sold for millions and millions of pounds, yeah? And I found out that money don't rule me, if that makes any sense. I enjoying what I do. Now, me and my friend Collins, and I've just started writing a book about this, believe it or not. We've got a book coming out about this. Is I am happy when I've got my little team, my friends around me. And that's one of the biggest things I've learned in life is one thing in life, always make sure you've got good people around you. Because when you're in that big corporate thing, and which I would have been with Lord Sugar, is you end up with these people that are telling you what to do all the time. And they're pulling you from pillar to post, and you've got this meeting with that manufacturers, and you need to be there. And you end up doing what you're told to do, and you've got investor. That's not me. I like doing what I like to do, and I like enjoying. And in a weird way, that's how the Dino's Calf videos come around.
Yeah. And just sort of, on Bosch Beds, but now you've also got Bosch Gym.
Yeah.
How important do you think that your sort of your personality as a branding aspect is for your success? And people, just as you say, from a very early age, people sort of bought into you because you're friends with them, they can trust you. That, I guess, gets harder as you expand. But through social media, do you think that people want to do business with you because they get a sense of who you are and feel a sense of feel a connection?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like I've been offered so many work opportunities. Like people are going, can you fly out to here and do a sales conference? I've been going into the city and giving pardon me, sorry, I had a kebab right there. Like you get these like I don't know, but I'm just myself. Like I am literally a market trader from Romford. I will never lose where I've come from ever. Like, and I think that's where I've just always been true to myself. Like I ain't just because I get recognised everywhere now. Like I've worked hard all my life. But I'm just a normal bloke. I'm just a normal bloke. That's me. I like a beer on a Friday. I like watching West Ham. I know we're crap at the minute, but I like watching West Ham. And I like working hard and providing my family. And that's me. And I think that's probably why that helps me out, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think that probably resonates with a lot of people. And, obviously it's quite a difficult time for small businesses at the moment. What are your thoughts on the sort of current climate and the cost of living crisis? And what's sort of your words of motivation to people who are, just trying to be salesmen and make a living through business?
I think now is the hardest time to make money. It really, really is. I mean, one thing that I learned, the day the Russia-Ukraine war happened, the day before, I was paying £66 plus VAT for a double divan bed, a cheap one I'd done, that I sold hundreds every week at 200 quid, yeah? Or 100 every week at 200 quid. The day after the war was declared, for whatever reason, I cannot tell you, that went up to £130 plus VAT. And that was it was literally like, people sort of use these big things that happen in the world to benefit off it. And that's what I've learned is wrong, especially big companies. They find these things happening in the world and they all profiteer off of it. And now is the time, more than ever, to support small businesses. SMEs, small businesses are the backbone of Britain. Like, if we lose what's, like, they pay for the NHS, they pay for the roads, like, the taxes that small businesses do and pays for our country, and everyone forgets that sometimes. And you're not just, when you're going to a butcher, you might be paying 50p more, a local butcher, but you're not just funding someone's lavish, you're not. You might be paying for someone's little boy to have football lessons on the weekend, or you're keeping the family tradition going, but you're also supporting local farmers. I mean, like, I go to a cafe called Dino's Calf in New Spitalfield Market in Leighton, East London, most mornings, because I've been going there before we went to the market stall, before Western Advance. We've always gone there, and I've always gone there and give a little motivational speech to me workers, and that's how the video started. But when you're sitting there, you see greengrocers who have families, generations, they're being absolutely annihilated by the likes of Aldi's and Tesco's, because what they're doing is they're getting the farmers, UK farming especially, is on its knees because they've signed 15, 20-year deals to buy things at a certain price, and all of a sudden diesel's gone up, everything's gone up. They can't grow the veg for what and sell it for anymore. So we have to make sure we look after small businesses. I mean, I know like it sometimes is there and we can't, it's a cost of living crisis, I know, but if we support small businesses, it will turn around. If we carry on paying the big corporations, we'll be screwed. Fact.
And is there anything, apart from as consumers supporting, is there anything you'd want the government to do in order to support small businesses? Be that maybe, higher windfall taxes on sort of corporations excessively profiteering off of war and that sort of thing? I mean,
like, I'm having this chat. Corporation tax went up. We're going, oh yeah, but that's only on over 50 grand. 50 grand profit for us is not a lot of money nowadays when you've got vans to run. People don't understand this. Like, I think small businesses need to be supported a lot more, and there need to be more grants to help entrepreneurs and people looking to get on their feet. Because look, I was very lucky. I've always done well for myself, and I'm lucky that I've got a lovely house, a lovely family, a lovely cars. I've got lovely things, but I've worked hard to get there. But there's so many people that have got these ideas and have got these fantastic things that they can bring to our country and bring to our economy, and they've not got the funding or the backing, and they get overlooked. And then what happens is big companies like the likes of Amazon will smash the lot. I mean, Amazon is a bully. Amazon is out and out bully. Like, I know a lot of people sell from Amazon, but Amazon dictate what you sell it for, and they dictate what they're gonna pay you. Like, fact. But you can go on a market and sell it for what you want and have 100% of your money. You know what I mean? So I do think that we do need to be doing a lot more to support people wanting to go on their own.
And so for some of us today who might, like yourself, not really aspire to a 9-to-5 job or having a boss, what would your advice be, both on sort of how to go about that, what skills you need to develop, and also whether you've spoken about people like selling off of Amazon. I think a lot of people these days who are looking to kind of, like get out of the matrix, I suppose, or that kind of thing, think about it in a very online way about, drop shipping, crypto. Is that something you'd recommend, or do you still think that the way to really kind of control your own destiny is not to be a small cog in that big machine, but do it yourself?
There's a million selling websites out there you can do for yourself and have 100% of the money. Like, why go to Amazon when you can set up a Shopify account? You know what I mean? You can sell just because you got Amazon, which they're huge, but there's tens of thousands of people selling the same products as you on Amazon. And like, to get on that front page, you see, this is the thing that people get sucked into is, for example, I'm selling that bottle of water. Well, there might be 10,000 other people selling that bottle of water. But there's a geezer on Amazon, he sold 40,000 this month for £1. Yeah, all right, but he's been doing it and pumped money into it and pushed it and got back in. Like, I think go on your own, push yourself, and never give up. Like, through my whole life, I've sold, there ain't a commodity that I ain't sold. I'll be honest with you, I've sold absolutely everything. Some things work, some things ain't. But don't never give up. Like, always carry on, because you could be that close, and I mean it, that close to making it crack. And if you just think, it weren't for me, I didn't get there, I'll go back to doing this, I'll do that. Don't never give up on yourself. Like, don't go, I've always said this, don't never go home until you're proud. If you can go home and when you lay in your bed say, do you know what, I'm proud of what I've done today, then you know you cracked it. You know what I mean? Keep on pushing, because you will get there. Trust me, you'll get there.
I think on that inspiring note, we'll open it up to questions from the floor. Do we have a microphone to pass around? Yeah. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah, Liam.
My question is, will you run for the Mayor of London?
Do you know what? I've been asked this question quite a lot recently, and I would love to run for Mayor of London, and I've been speaking to some people in very high places about this as well, but I don't know enough, and I'm going to hold my hands up, yeah? Please remember, like, I am a market trader, not a politician, and there is millions of things that I know I'd make better for London, especially, of course, the ULEZ thing is terrible. It's killing people, There is a cost of living crisis. There's a million things that I'd make better for London. But again, I'd love to do it, but at the same time, get into politics. I don't know if I'm educated enough. Is the honest answer.
Yeah, it's a bit of a risky investment because don't you have to pay £5,000 to run, and that you only get that back if you get a certain.
I mean, look, I have been speaking to a few people about it.
Well, so we're not going to have any official launch of the Oxford Union. There's no exclusive coming.
No.
All right. Okay. That was a bit cheeky of me. Anyone have another question? Yeah.
So, Thomas, you're moving from the world of business into football management, it seems, going out to manage West Ham in America. Congratulations. Do you think your business skills will be able to transfer into football? And are there any great managers that you're going to look up to as you try to bring West Ham success in America?
Oh, mate, what a mad one. You know that was the maddest phone call I've ever had in my life, by the way. So I literally got a phone call. Now I'm going into the world of TV and all this social media, and it's an absolute whirlwind to me. I got a phone call. Basically, I thought it was a wind-up. Can you come to West Ham and have a chat with us because we're wanting to go to branch out and make West Ham big in America, and we think you'd be brilliant managing the team. And I went, you what? And my friend Cole, my good friend Colin, he's a black cab driver, and he's ended up becoming my full-time driver. And we go over in a black cab. And the meeting was set for 9 o'clock in the morning at West Ham. And I told my dad, and he told me Uncle Steve, and then I sillily told him the time. Well, I remember I was getting dressed, and as I looked out my window, I was upstairs, I was putting my clothes on, I looked out and I see Cole pull in, and I thought, who's that in the back of the cab? Random, I'm going on my own. And I come down the stairs, and my dad and my Uncle Steve had turned up and they come to the meeting with me. Oh, mate, I thought, don't start. They think they're coming as well. And yeah, I'm just going to go. I think I'm there to be positive, really, and push the team. I mean, I played football when I was younger. I've managed a few youth teams. I mean, managing a West Ham Legends team is a bit different. But yeah, I mean, it's insane. I mean, obviously, I'll be a bit different to David Moyes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Another big opportunity that I've been given, so I'm blessed.
What's your advice to the UK West Ham team? Is there pretty low in the table at the moment?
I think we're safe. You know, we've got. I'm going up to Man City on during the week. It's a long drive up there. I mean, we're going to take a batter in there. I know that. And then we've got Man United, which I think we'll actually get a point or maybe beat Man United. We always do well against Man United at home, so that'll be a good game. But I think we're safe, but we just got to carrying on. You know what I mean? West Ham is like, we can play world-class football for 15 minutes and then it all falls apart. Like, it's typical West Ham, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm an Arsenal fan, and it was pretty gutting to see.
You've ruined that one, haven't you?
Yeah, I know, exactly. So, you know, I'll listen to some of your motivational TikToks as I'm crying at the end of the season. Any other questions? Yeah.
You appeared on GMV either sort of last week and seemed to have lots of fun talking about celebrating St George's Day. I've got a very simple question. Whose idea was it to bring the small England flags and wave them?
Mine. Yeah, that was a mad one, wasn't it? So, when I got the call from ITV the day before, they said, Tom, can you come? I said, fantastic, I love coming and having, I've done probably about 20 or 30 of them now. And they said, we see your tweet about people, because I put a tweet out saying, Happy St George, that's what I've done, tweet, Happy St George's Day. I got a DM within 3 minutes, mate, you should take that tweet down, it's a bad look for you, people will unfollow you. I thought, well, that's nonsense. Like, do you know what I mean? I think that's absolute nonsense. So I've done another tweet saying, I can't believe I had this message sent in, but I'm proud to be English, you know, and I'm going to celebrate St George. I'm proud about Only Fools and Horses, cups of tea, black cabs, the City of London, William Shakespeare. And the tweet went absolutely viral. I think it was on like 4 million views, something mental. So they've rung us up and said, we've seen your tweet. What we want to do is, they basically tricked me a little bit because they went, we're going to have a debate tomorrow.
It was a pretty one-sided debate. You weren't given very much speaking time.
Well, no, I didn't know this. I was told that I was going to be debating traditional English values. Yeah, like so it was like they was like, we want you to talk about, you know, why it's important to have a takeaway, fish and chips on a Friday night, and why it's important to have a cup of tea. Like that's what I was told the debate was about. So, oh yeah, I'll do that, no problem. I'll see you in the morning. When I got there, now my little England flags, I'm going to say it, St George's Day, it was Day for St George's Day. When I got there, Gino De Campo was in there having a cup of tea, and I'm talking to Gino De Campo, and then this lady walks in, and she's got these scripts, this Narinda, and she's fight, and she looks really angry enough. And they went, oh, that's who you're having a debate. I went, all right, lovely. And then they went, oh, Tom, did you get the email about bringing an England shirt? And I went, no, I didn't, but I brought my England flag. And then I went on there, and I literally, and I thought, wow, she hates England. Like, and they didn't talk to me. They just let her go on, and then she was going, honestly, like really quite intense. I thought, what's going on here? What? Like, it's just a day. Like, come on, leave it out. Like, ain't that big a deal. You know what I mean? Like, and then she's going on about right-wing people, and I thought, just let people enjoy it to be English for one day. Just let them enjoy it. Celebrate. I'm from England. I'm happy. St George's Day. That's it. You know, I'm proud to be English. I'm proud to be British. And she's getting more and more agitated, and she's round with her balls, and then all of a sudden I thought, oh, fuck this, I'm going to wave the flag. So in a true British, I just sat there, waved my little flag, and then she went for me. And I just laughed.
Yeah, well, actually, we had a bit of I mentioned earlier, this came up, it was quite big in Oxford because one of the colleges cancelled their St George's Day demonstration. I think, you know, as much as, you know, the point she was making about there are lots of parts of, you know, the flag's been used by lots of far-right groups. I think everything you said about there are still things we can be proud of about. And actually, it's a way to reclaim it. You know, it is our flag. It's how people view us. And if you go abroad, people are always very, you know, proud of the English, I find.
I don't think we should bow down to the minority of people that have made it, that have hijacked it. I think we should take it back. You know what I mean? Like, it's a flag at the end of the day, and it's our flag, and we should be proud of it. And we shouldn't let people that have made it, you know, a mad right-wing icon. Let's just take it back, and let's be proud to be English, proud to be British. Let's bring that back again. I think that's really, really important, especially in today's day as well.
Absolutely. Does anyone have another question? Yes.
You mentioned you've had a lot of up and downs. You've had some money one day, no money the next. Have you stayed happy throughout that? Has that been hard?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've always been a very happy, positive person. Like, you know, I mean, when I was skinny, I mean, when I had to go and stay at my mum's for a bit years ago. I'm talking years, when I was in my late teens. I never had a bedroom, so I was on a pull-out futon on my mum's front room floor in a 2-up, 2-down house, and I didn't have a tenner in my pocket, and I didn't know where I was going to get my next bit of dough from, and I'd sold me a bit of van to pay a bill, and then I still stayed positive, you know. But what I used to do was I was so embarrassed that I was on the floor and staying on this pull-out bed that I'd wake up before everyone before my mum, my brother and sister woke up. I'd leave the house, I'd be gone. I'd wake up at 6 o'clock, and I'd make sure I'd be getting home at 9 o'clock when everyone's going to bed, because I was so embarrassed. And then during them days, I didn't know how I was going to find my money. I just went out and knocked on doors and carried on and knocked on doors and met people. I hold my hands up. I always ask for help. Anything you can do for me? Can I borrow a bit of money? Go and buy some stock. Can I do this? Do you want that done? I always tried and find an angle, you know, and I wasn't there for long. I was there, but I wasn't there for long. And I think if I was to sit there and stay depressed or down or demotivated, I'd still be there. So I think you need to, in life, when the chips are down, and they're always going to come down, they will always be a bad time. You need to remember that you can be up there. Anyone who's in this life has got the opportunity to be up there, absolutely anyone. And I think when the chips are down, that's the time when you really got to be happy, because that's the time when you got to knuckle in, put the heels in, and march on forward and give yourself the opportunity.
Absolutely. Any other questions? Yes.
Hi, I was just wondering if you're still in contact with any of your fellow contestants from The Apprentice.
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, so I speak to correct. We've actually got a group chat called Sugar Babes. And funny story, I speak to Lord Sugar's daughter and son quite a bit on WhatsApp. So funny story, every week I send a WhatsApp out to about, I don't know, there's a couple go out, a few hundred people and it's things that I've got, deals of the week is what it normally is. And it could be, I've got 25 chandeliers or I've got 30, whatever it is, and they go out. And this one week I had a couple hundred of Rolex clocks, wall clocks. And I put it all out there and I'd somehow, this was a pure accident, added Lord Sugar to the WhatsApp group. And I sent this picture with 28 different Rolex wall clocks, all go on the walls. It was 150 quid each, and I sent it out. And all of a sudden, we found Lord Sugar, and I thought, what the fuck? And I looked at it, and he went, I'll have a few of those, mate. And it was quite, he bought loads, he bought about 20 off me. And he was on Sky News a little while ago in his office, and he had 3 of the clocks behind him, and I thought, you know what, they're from me. And so I speak to, we got a group chat. We're trying to meet up soon. I told all of them, because they all live all over the place. I said, why don't you all come down, all stay at mine for the day. So we're end of the month, hopefully, we're going to meet up around mine and have a little party.
Yeah, you said that Lottie wound you up a bit. Was there another contestant you got on with?
Yeah, I really liked all of them, to be fair. Even Lottie, she done me head in. But look, I don't not get on with people. I got on with absolutely all of them, to be fair. She was a little bit hard work, bless her, Lottie, but she was a nice girl, do you know what I mean?
That's great. Was there another question there? Yes.
Hi, I'm actually from Romford as well, so I was just wondering, like, in what ways, like, the area you grew up in influenced you today, like the person you are now and stuff.
Brilliant. Well, as you know, Romford is the centre of the universe, the best town in the world. So obviously I grew up within walking distance of Romford Market, and that, I mean, not so much now, but when I was a little boy, was the best market probably in the UK. There was not a square foot on that market that wasn't covered with a stall. Honestly, it was mobbed. And you used to go there on a weekend or on a Friday, and it was mobbed. It was mobbed. Like, I'm talking every single aisle. You couldn't get down. You couldn't see. There were so many people, and I used to love. There was a man called Ron. I don't know why I remember his name, but Ronnie Saint, and he used to wear a big chain around his neck with an axe on it. Yeah, I don't know. And he used to sell toys, stand up, and I used to love the shouting in the market. And then we had a dog as well, and I used to go and buy pig's ears off the market. And Romford was a town of, like, it's just outside East London, but everyone is from East London, if you know what I mean. And everyone has sort of gone there to sort of crack on, and everyone was grafted in Romford. There was always deals to be done, and I think growing up around there, it was a good place to grow up. It was, as you know, it can be quite rough at nights, Romford, as well. I mean, it's a rough town, it's a rough place, but if you was caught the wrong side of back in my day, Brannigan's and all that, you'd be getting knocked spark out. But at the same time, in the morning, the market would be busy, you can earn a few quid. I mean, I had burger vans on Romford Market, and growing up around there was brilliant, because I got taught by my mates a bit older than me that you got to be tough in life and you don't take no shit from no one. But at the same time, you can make money and do whatever you want to do as well from Romford. So I love growing up in Romford, the best place in the world.
Any final questions from the audience? Yeah.
Hi, Tom. I was wondering, could you recommend me a breakfast to make tomorrow morning?
The breakfast to have, yeah? One of my so basically, the reason why I have such big meals is because when we was doing the markets and we would start work about 3 o'clock in the morning, you know? And my routine, especially with the beds as well, was, with everything really, was get to the warehouse 3 o'clock in the morning, send out the vans for delivery, send out the orders, set up the market stalls, go and have a bit of breakfast, load up the vans, go have a bit of breakfast. And by that time, once you get to sort of 5, 6 o'clock, you're starving. And obviously in Leighton, in where it is, in East London, just round the corner from Stratford, because of all the greengrocers, they start work at like 11 midnight, and it opens at 2 a.m. and shuts at 10 a.m. and everyone's sort of having their dinner. It's mad. It's like back to front times. And you're starving. And when we all go in there, like Ernie goes, right, what do you want, Tom? We got spicy Korean noodles with chicken breast and 2 poached eggs. Or we got the sunshine chicken curry and round chips. There's no breakfast on the menu. And I'd recommend the spicy Korean noodles, 'cause I love them. You know what I mean? I absolutely love them. But yeah, we've always had a big meal that gets us going, because if you're standing out in the cold on a market stall, which I've done since 15, 16, bacon sandwich ain't going to keep you warm in the winter, and it ain't going to let you, because you do 20,000 steps on a good market stall, backwards and forwards in a day, at least. So a big breakfast, I can guarantee you, is miles better than, you know, a croissant or something like that.
All right, unless there's any final questions, we mentioned earlier maybe doing one of your videos. Do you want to do one?
I'd love to do one.
All right, okay. Shall we? Do you want to film?
I'd love to do one. Yeah. So what should we? Should we get our cameraman over there to film it? Would you mind?
We'll do it. It'll be on the cameraman.
Oh, on the camera, not my phone. I've got my phone out. Look.
Yeah. We can do it. We can do it in a high-tech way.
Yeah.
But if you want to get up and just give a motivational.
What? I don't know what to say now. I ain't got no chicken curry in front of me. Well, it's not morning. It's 10 to 9. So, good evening, you lovely, lovely people of Oxford Union. Now, first I want to say I'm absolutely honoured to be here. It's different class, one of the best things I've ever done. And you're all here aspiring, you know, you're all grafting hard, you're all working on your education, and you're all going to crack it in life. And let me tell you all one thing, yeah? Don't give up. When it's hard and you feel like, I can't do this no more, carry on going on. Give it 110%, because in 6 months, 2 years, whenever, you'll be so proud of yourselves that you knuckled down and you got on with it and you smashed it. Or, because in 2 or 3 years' time you didn't, you'll think, why didn't I just listen to Tom Skinner and give it 110%, yeah? So crack on with life. You're all going to be absolute winners. Believe in yourself and don't go home until you're proud. Thank you for having me. A bosh!